have this experience among strangers, going into theaters, and I think that adds another layer into the whole thing.
Yeah, it really does, and especially it being a Valentine's Day movie, it's good for first daters. If trying to be romantic, like I know my wife, whenever she gets a little scared, and my son as well, they cling on to me like as if I'm gonna save them. It's only a movie, but I'm like, I'm scared too. I'm like, so it lends itself to some closeness. You never know.
How cool is it to be part of an ensemble cast where characters are so mysterious, so colorful?
Yeah, I mean, I think that on and off screen, we're all very different, and we brought something to the table. And the 5 guests, everyone on that island represents a type of person in the world. That's kind of how I viewed it. And you can see yourself in one of the characters or in a lot of them. And I think especially with Melanie, like I feel like my job of playing her was I wanted to humanize her.
You're right. There's the audience can very much pick whoever they want and then kind of ride their fantasy, and the fantasies intertwine in a way, so it all makes sense at the end. But what I like is that it keeps people guessing. I was reading the script and I couldn't guess very well as to how this was going to turn out, and I thought, wow, this is a beautiful ending, and so it was cool. I'm like, I definitely enjoyed reading it, but I really enjoyed watching it.
No one was imposing anything on me. We honored the legacy of the show because that's what I wanted to do. I looked at the Marvel movies, and the way they adapt their comic book properties to the screen is brilliant because they identify the icons of the underlying material. They're truthful to it, but then they also allow themselves to explore new ideas and change it and adapt it for the big screen. So we identified the icons of the show: Mr. Rourke in a white suit, a plane arriving, someone saying the plane, right? Individual fantasies that go awry. We did all those things, and then we introduced new ideas. We introduced a new assistant, Julia. We took those fantasies, we had them collide, which never happened in the show before. We offered our own take on the material. So hopefully we satisfy fans of the original show, but we also invite new fans to come and see the film.
Talking about fantasy, what do you think is the biggest contrast between the fantasy that people have about Hollywood and being a movie star versus the reality?
Like, people think that it's all glamour, photo shoots, money, premieres all the time, and that's maybe 1% of it. I think what the other 99% is 17-hour days, and there's a lot of work that goes into it, and it's not like, oh, poor us, but like but it is a lot of work, and I don't even like the other one. Like a lot of like the glitz and glamour doesn't come naturally to me. Absolutely. So yeah, it's most of my family and friends that come visit me on set are like, what do you mean you're doing the take another time? Like, what do you mean you have to do it 50 more times? So there's a lot of misconceptions.
Cool.
Yeah.
If you had to pick one Blumhouse movie, that is not this one, to experience as a fantasy, would you go with something like Paranormal Activity, Insidious, or Sinister, or The Purge, Get Out? There is one that you would say, I have a chance to survive this nightmare?
Yeah, probably The Black Klansman. Was a Blumhouse movie, yes. And I'd be able to survive it because I would be
Whiplash, if you want.
Whiplash was another one because like I was a drummer.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I think I could survive music school. I think I could survive that one probably the best.
Always on the right tempo. Thank you so much
Exactly.
for your time, sir.
Perfect.
You know what? I'm all into like paranormal and ghosts and stuff. And even though the ghosts I would want to experience, I hope wouldn't be malicious, I think Paranormal Activity would be fun. Yes. The first one, that was like one of my favorite movies.
I'm very, very scared.
Very scary.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.